Hello everyone, Ailuromage the Magic History Cat here. So today we're going to take a closer look at the Reaper and explore the term Lemures and how it all connects to this term in the real world. For any newcomers to Final Fantasy XIV, this is big lore spoiler territory for Endwalker and onward. So let's start with the Reapers themselves with a short recap. Reapers in Final Fantasy XIV originated from Garlean farmers who made deals with the Voidsent of the 13th to give them powerful abilities they wouldn't have had otherwise, as Garleans naturally can't manipulate ether. Once the deal is made, the Voidsent becomes their avatar and manifests their power in the source as they are anchored through the Jobstone. This is a mutually beneficial yet potentially dangerous relationship for the Reaper. The Reaper gains incredible power through their pact, and their avatar gets a continuous supply of ether fed to them through the enemies the Reaper defeats by using their powers. As more Reapers developed over time, from this formed the order that would be known as the Lemures. This term is also referenced in the Reaper's level 86 abilities, Lemures Slice, a single target attack, and Lemures Scythe, an AoE attack. These abilities can only be used while under the effect of Enshroud, which grants stacks of Lemures Shroud. Lore-wise, this ability is an expression of embracing the relationship of the Reaper being a host for their avatar. During this effect, the Reaper gains Oblatio, which is an effect that allows them to use Sacrificium at level 92, Sacrificium being a powerful striking attack with an AoE effect. These two words pair really well thematically, as Oblatio is Latin for an offering or gift, frequently used in religious contexts, and Sacrificium of course means sacrifice, Oblatio for Sacrificium, an offering for a sacrifice from the Reaper to their avatar. The abilities themselves reinforce the veracity of the pacted Voidsent and just how insatiable their appetite is for ether. Now, while it's pretty much implied that the Warrior of Light is so powerful that they can control their avatar without any issues, this is not the same for almost everyone else. Reckless Reapers, or ones with weak willpower, risk falling victim to their avatar and becoming nothing more than possessed puppets to their Voidsent. Now let's take a closer look specifically at the term Lemure. In the game, it means spirits of the dead in the Garlean tongue, but in the real world, Lemures are a real term, and this word has been around for centuries. It comes from the old Roman religion, and by this I mean the ancient one from as far back as 8th century BC, predating the adapted Greek pantheon that emerged far later and became prominent somewhere around 3rd century BC. The ancestors to the Roman Empire were far more spiritual and animistic, primarily living off of the land as farmers. Their lifestyle and culture would carry over to early Roman beliefs and lasted for centuries after Rome was officially formed. Although Lemures in Final Fantasy XIV is the name of the Order of the Reapers and not the Voidsent themselves, Lemures in real historic texts behave and function very similarly to the Voidsent. There are various descriptions of Lemures and practices surrounding them throughout history, mentioned in texts written by Roman poets and writers like Ovid and Horace, and even later religious figures such as St. Augustine. Lemures have been described as shadowy, formless, and ghost-like creatures, which matches pretty well to what your avatar looks like in the game. And similarly to the Voidsent, they were hungry and insatiable spirits that fed on souls. They would inflict harm upon the living by causing illness, mental psychosis, and generally cause bad luck and chaos within households and communities. Beliefs at the time explained that Lemures were the result of souls that did not pass peacefully or had unresolved conflicts when they were alive. There was an entire ritual dedicated to purging these spirits called Lemuralia. During this window of time, temples were closed, important events such as weddings were avoided, and it was a time for the head of household to perform the ritual. This took place during the month of May and fell on the days of the 9th, 11th, and interestingly enough, the 13th. Though do keep in mind that this was long long before the Gregorian calendar, so it wouldn't have been the same day for us in our current calendar system, but it is a very fun coincidence how the number 13 lines up so appropriately here. Now, performing this ritual involved preparations such as cleansing hands, walking barefoot through the home, and speaking specific phrases at the spirits. But one of the most important aspects was the practice of tossing beans at these spirits. The beans they used are sometimes referred to as black beans depending on the text, however they weren't referring to what we commonly think of as black beans today, as they didn't exist in ancient Rome. They were talking about fava beans. Why they were called black beans is attributed to a few reasons. Some say it's because the plant had dark marks on it, or some beans had darker pigments, or even that they were dried and lost their color. But there's also the idea that this is just what they were called because of their spiritual connection. In ancient Rome, it was believed that fava beans contained souls, and these would serve as offerings for the Lemures to feed on and leave your family alone. So calling them black beans is more symbolic than a literal description of the bean itself. This of course parallels with feeding the ether from souls to the Voidsent, the power of a soul as an offering for sacrifice. I somewhat wish they would have used Lemure as the term for your avatar in the game to link it a bit more precisely, but ultimately it all works together very well. So Voidsent and Lemures are both hungry and terrifying creatures that feed on souls, with the ability to cause harm, decay, and possess the bodies of the living. I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like or comment, as I absolutely love reading them. I also want to give a quick thank you to Goddess Thane for allowing me to use their videos as a resource to put this one together. Their channel is like a library for storylines, cutscenes, and quests for 14 and other games, and I highly recommend checking out their content. Thank you again, and remember to pet a cat today.